Dear friends, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm only sorry I cannot join you in person. You know how much I admire your work, how much I like working with Les RSA, and how much I love engaging with students and the young ones. I believe in leadership, I believe in democracy, I believe in freedom. And this is what is at the heart of the NATO alliance that we'll be celebrating in the next few days, our 75th anniversary and a major summit in July in Washington, D.C., the place where this beautiful journey of NATO has started 75 years ago. I remember visiting London, I think, a few months back, and in 2 days of a visit, I engaged with 3 universities, with Imperial, where NATO has established the European headquarters for Diana, our innovation hub all over Europe, with London School of Economics, I think with London Business School, and I hope that some of you watching my intervention were part of those audiences. Everywhere I go, I talk to students. I was in Madrid talking to Instituto Empresa. I was in Toulouse speaking to Sciences Po. So what a better place and a greater pleasure than engaging with you today. You, my young friends and future leaders, you are taking the relay from our generation. And if our generation, especially in former communist Europe, it was a generation of Euro-Atlantic integration, your generation, wherever the country you're coming from, will be a generation trying to establish and to maintain peace and stability around the world. Because we are living in a world of huge transformation, great power competition is back, technology is accelerating at speeds and complexities like never before. Regional players, multi-domain threats, cyber, cognitive warfare, disinformation, evolution of human species through biotechnology, everything comes on your shoulders. So what I'm trying to tell you today, that you will be living in a world of turbulence, but where there is a crisis, there is also an opportunity, and I believe that with your intellect, with your leadership, and with your curiosity and ingenuity, you'll be the generation that will be shaping the new world order. 75 years ago, our leaders founded NATO. They founded the UN Charter. They founded the Bretton Woods institutions. They founded the WTO. They founded the European communities, now the European Union, NATO, my organization. I think it's your time to shape the world in the making. Avoid war, promote cooperation, embrace technology, minimize the risk of technology, and having this planet of ours peaceful, but also protective of these profound changes of climate. You also be the generation that will be witnessing the first not only explorers, but colonizers of space. Yes, it's happening. It's happening fast. And I only hope that I will be at your age to be able to have the challenge and the excitement of really going beyond our beautiful planet into other places and spaces. And I have a challenge for you, an intellectual challenge. Everything that we have established after the Second World War, all this system of institutions, UN, NATO, EU, WTO, everything else that I mentioned before, were basically found in one document that I encourage you to read. It's called the Atlantic Charter, signed by Prime Minister Winston Churchill and President Franklin Delano Roosevelt in Newfoundland on the shores of Canada, on a ship, on a warship at the beginning of Second World War, when nobody knew, like we do not know today, where the world was heading to. War was raging in Europe and in Asia, and America and England, its ally, and those leaders tried to propose to the world, through the Atlantic Charter, an embryo, a design of world order and institutions that will prevent war, promote peace. I encourage you to read the Atlantic Charter, which is a formidable document, full of strategic wisdom and depth, full of courage, and a proposition to the world. Speaking of freedom of navigation, speaking of the Red Sea and the Houthis, speaking of right of nations to cooperate and prosper, speaking of inequalities around the world. What would be your proposition if you'd be in the situation to draft a world charter? Because it's clear that two nations alone cannot really draft a charter for the world today, when many other nations are trying to come to the forefront, when smaller or medium-sized powers are trying to come to the forefront. What would be the principles you would suggest for a new world order? What should be the values underpinning this new world order? What should be the values underpinning the new technology and the policies for AI, for quantum, for biotech, for human enhancement, for space exploration and colonization? What should be your vision of the future? What should be the world you love to live in and have your kids and your grandkids, as I'm looking to my kids and hopefully grandkids for my generation? This is the challenge of your time. This is where people like you, smart, educated leaders, people of courage and vision and principles, will be called, like our forefathers 75 years ago, to step up, be bold, be courageous, be true to yourselves. And in fact, this is what NATO does. We are so proud to serve what we say, the most successful alliance in human history. I invite you to think what will be an alliance to be successful also in the 22nd century, not only the 20th or the 21st. Good luck with your work. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. I'll be coming back to London and go, of course, to universities to talk to people like you. Good luck.